Welcome to another VMA-214 training video. Today we're going to be looking at the ATHS, or the Automatic Target Handoff System, in combination with the CAS page. So we're just going into a hold off the coast of Rota, and we're going to be flying some BAI, and we have a couple of special forces teams on the island that are giving us targets, and we have visibility of some of those targets now. So I want to get some coordinates into the close air support page and then prosecute those targets. So I'm just sitting in the autopilot in the hold here, and while we get that set up. Now, the first thing we need to do is open the CAS page, and we'll have a talk about that. So there's the CAS page. I've opened up. So it's got an empty request there, so you see REQ at the top and nothing filled in. So empty request, we could go in and manually populate that entire page with lat longs and coordinates in that way, but with the ATHS we can hand off targets straight into the CAS page off the F10 menu. So to do that, let's bring up the F10 menu. I will switch over to Waypoints. We'll just have a quick look at the Waypoints. I've got Waypoint 1 in there, 2, 3, 4 and 5 back at ANZUS and back to 1. So we want to add some target points in there, so let's bring up the F10 menu. There we go. So there's us holding off Rota, and we can see at Rota we've been given some targets here. So there's some armour down here on the southern tip near Song Song, and then we've got some vehicles up here on the plateau and some activity at the airport. So let's get that armour as a priority target. So the first thing we need to do is drop an empty mark point somewhere. So we're just going to drop that off the coast here somewhere. There we go. We don't put anything in and label it, we just drop it in as an empty mark point. Now we need to put a targeting point in, and we've got two groups of targets here. So let's put this group here in to start with, and we'll call them Tango 01, and we'll put a second group in here up near the intersection, and we'll call them Tango 02. Right, so it's got to be specifically capital T 02, not 02, and capital T 01. Alright, once we've got those in, we can transfer those over to the aircraft. So if I go back into the cockpit and we recall the CAS page and see what targets we've got in there, you can see we've got nothing at the moment. So if we bring up the kneeboard and scroll through to the target list here, we're going to bring those targets in here. Now on the ground, if I was parked and sitting on the ground with weight on wheels and I did this, the right shift right alt 8, it will automatically load them as active waypoints into the target list, and they'll be in the CAS page as active waypoints. Now we're airborne, so it works slightly differently, and this is probably realistically we're going to use it rather than a pre-planned target. So let's right shift right alt and 8. Okay, done that, and you can see nothing in the target list on the kneeboard because we're airborne. However, we just got two request numbers loaded and targets put in to 1 and 2. So we can hold 18, but we've got 1 and 2 in. I can use the arrow buttons on the left side of the DDI to scroll between the two, up and down, and we can use any one of those. So it's important to note the numbers. We've got request 242 and 243. So let's press the CAS button again, and we now have request 243. So that's the one we were just looking on the record, but I'm going to use the up and down buttons on the left side of the DDI to go to 242, which we knew was Tango 01. Now what we have to do to use this target as a active point, because at the moment if I scroll through the waypoints 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, we don't have any targets in there yet. So I have to select the use button at the bottom of the DDI left hand side, on the OBS, use, and we get target, and we give it 01. Enter. See the EHSD data entry goes red. We can click that out. Now it now has a request with active, so that is now an active target point for us. Now let's scroll down to 243. Okay, not active, and we're going to make that active as well. So I'll bring that in, use, again target, and we put 02 in. It's active. Now we can just scroll to those targets and we can go and prosecute them if we want. But there's some other functions in the CAS page which we'll talk about. So if I press the CAS button again, you can see an asterisk has appeared at line 14. And this time if I use the up and down buttons, I can move it up the different fields. And where there's a chance for entry, I can put something in. So we can put an IP in. If we had a waypoint set off the coast here, which we don't have, I could put an IP in. And it just puts the waypoint number in to work off. We can manually change the bearing, ranges, we can change the elevation, but because we use the F10 map, there's no need, it's been pre-populated. So if we go down to the description, we now get this up and down option on the left side of the DDI. So if I scroll up, it says personnel, weapon, mortar, armour. Alright, so we'll give it armour, and we'll keep scrolling down. We can change that long. If it was marked, we can put in what it's marked by, laser, smoke. So there's a few options if I go through it. There's smoke, flares, mirrors, bow light, panels, fire, laser, and then we can also put a code in. So I've got laser, and over here, I can put a code in. So let's pretend it's been marked by, we're going to self-laze, but let's just say it's been marked by a code 4 ones, enter that. I now have marked by laser 4 ones. And we can go further down the list, put an egress point in. It can be a waypoint again that we might have had preset in the target area where we're capping, in a CAS box for instance, or we can just put a direction. So let's put direction in. It currently says none, but what it's given us is the up and down buttons again. So what we can do is put a direction in. Now if we look back at the island there, probably a good way to come off is off to the east. We don't want to go north, so we'll make it east. So let's use up and down, northwest, west, southwest, south, southeast, east. There we go, egress east. So those are already used. I'm not going to populate the other one, we've got the targets in there. And if I look in the waypoint now, if I cycle through, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Tango 1, our first target. So let's set up to prosecute that target. We'll fence in, master arm, lights are out, and we can go in air to ground mode. And we'll select laser MAV for the armour. Codes, check the code, 4 ones, and we're letting it time out. So we'll complete this turn in the hold here, and then we'll make our way into the target. So we're waiting 90 seconds for that laser MAV to align, and it's not a bad idea to box designate our target if we're going to self-laze. So I've got T1 noted up there. I'm going to box designate, turn it to target 19.8. That checks with 19.8 in our CAS page. It's confirmed. Now we're going to bring the T-pod up. T-pod's up, and it's now map des slave des. So it's looking at the target point, and we'll come along and we'll have a look for those tanks, and then we'll sweeten the position and get a T-pod des, and we'll prosecute the tanks. So hopefully they're just sitting there having lunch, sitting in their tin coffin, and we'll roll in. The first thing they'll know is one of their mates blows up. So let's push into the target now. I'm going to bring the laser off safe and make sure it's not training and it's lasing. It's 111. It is 4 ones, and I'm ready to fire the laser. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, Okay, so we'll pick the speed up a bit, coming out of the autopilot.
Caution.
And there we go, we've got a target diamond, we've got the teapot looking at the target area, and we're starting our run in. Now, expand the teapot a little, and let's have a look into the target area. Now at the moment it looks like it's got a bit of trees between us and the target area, so I'm going to keep the altitude nice and high as we run in, so we can look over the top of those trees into the targets. And I can just start to see the targets coming into view over the top of the trees. With trees like that, sometimes it might be better to try and find another run in, because you don't want the missile to fly into the trees and stop short of the target, so we might come a little bit further to the north, and there I can see my two vehicles, and we're still in map slave DES. Pick this one out here and give it a teapot DES. There we go, teapot DES, we're ready to laze, and we'll start our run into the target now. Everything looks good. Laser mav's ready to go. I'm going to uncage the laser mav. It's searching for the laser spot, and you can see that X moving backwards and forwards as it searches, and I'm going to fire the laser now. Firing. I've got a lock. I've got the square inside the target designation, meaning the laser's locked on. I'm going to sensor select forward long, and we've got good gimbal limits there. We're in range, and rifle. And good standoff, we're coming off the target, and I want to keep the laser firing. And sweeten that laser spot a bit on that tank. Let's back out so we can see it. Thump. Well, we've got two. Okay, good hits, and we can come around now and prosecute our second target. So that's the automatic target handoff system and the use of the CAS page while airborne. A little bit simpler on the ground in that you don't have to use and give them target numbers. It'll automatically do them in sequence, but there's no need looking at that because it's pretty straightforward following the same process. Thanks for watching.